Hello, I'm John Smith, head coach, Oklahoma State University. Today we're going to discuss setups and tie-ups, positions where I really feel that for you to be very effective on your feet, you first have to understand going out and setting up your opponent. You need to understand tie-ups. You need to understand how to move your opponent. To be effective and to be offensive, you've got to learn good setups and tie-ups. Elbow control. When we talk about elbow control, we're talking about controlling the elbow. And most of the time you get into an elbow control by your opponent grabbing your head. College wrestling, it's pretty easy to get into it because a lot of people are on their head, as well as high school. Everybody wants to latch onto that head. So if you develop a good elbow control, you're going to find yourself always in scoring positions and being able to use that tie-up to be able to set it up to a shot, to attack, to some points to put on the board. So when we talk about elbow control, we're talking about controlling above the elbow. It's actually not elbow control. We're actually grabbing part of the tricep muscle, controlling right above. There's a pocket that sits right above your elbow there that you want to grab. And when you grab it, you want to make sure you roll your wrist under. Okay? You don't want your wrist out. You don't want your thumb over the top here. You want your wrist under in this position. And this gives you the best control right here. And learn to grip that elbow. So most of the time when you're wrestling your opponent and how you're going to get into this particular tie-up is when the guy comes out and he grabs our head, okay, in this position. I immediately go right to the elbow, okay? And what that does is, one, the reason it's such a good control is you've taken away really any opportunity of this guy being able to penetrate, being able to drop down, take a high crotch shot. Because once you control the elbow, he has to clear that elbow in order to be effective with any type of shot. So that's our control. Elbow control is controlling your opponent. Okay, again, he grabs the head here, and I'm controlling that elbow. Okay, right here. All right. Now, we're going to talk about what we're going to do on the opposite side. Now, one of the things that when you take an elbow control, okay, is what you do with your free hand. It's going to be real important that you don't make the same mistake as when he goes to my head here and I control his elbow, that I go back to his head and he takes my elbow. Okay? Now, neither one of us are in position to score. Somebody's got to clear their arm before they can score. Now, when I take this elbow, you always want to make it a habit of taking that elbow. Your elbow stays close to your body and pulling that elbow in. You want to extend that arm over the top. I like to always say that I want to take that wrist deep over my shoulder, okay, in this position. So when he posts here, I always want to do this right here. Pull that elbow in, right here. I want to control it. I love that wrist to be over the top of my shoulder here. Now, on the opposite side, I don't want to control the head. I want to control inside. I'm taking my thumb, running it right into the armpit. I want to keep this arm long. I don't want him to have a grip. If he goes to grip me here, he doesn't have a grip, okay? So I want to keep that posted, and that is my control, okay, right here. He goes to my head. He's gone to my head. I've controlled his elbow and controlled inside on the opposite side, okay? This is a fine position to where you isolate your opponent from being able to score. And the only person that can score is myself, okay? Of course, you're not always going to stay in that position if you're wrestling, but if you ever get to the position, you're in position to score. We're not going to discuss a lot of shots today. We're going to discuss more tie-ups and setups and helping you develop these setups as well as tie-ups to go into a shot to find your best offense and your best attacks, okay? Now, the reason I'm going to cover a little bit more today on the elbow control is because we have so many athletes now going to the head. They want to go to the head, work the head, pull it down, whatever the case may be, and that's why I feel it's very effective that we can control that elbow. Okay? If you ever have a position where you feel like your opponent's putting pressure down on your head, he's coming out and jerking your head down here. Okay? You got to be real careful when you take elbow control here. Okay, and think that you're going to pull in. Anytime a guy comes out and he's pulling on my head here, okay, even though I got elbow control, he can pull me underneath him. You know, he can get me here. And I still have elbow control. I'm still in good position. And if you feel comfortable here, you're okay. You can take a lot of penetration shots from here, inside, shooting into your double or into your high crotch there. Okay, but preferably I like to see guys go right to their opponent. So for me to be effective with this control, I am going to get pressure on my head, so I've got to go right to him, okay? So when I get pressure, guy goes to my head, and I get pressure, and I take my inside, he starts to pull my head now, I go right to him. I crowd him right here. I jam my head right into him, okay? I take away that strength that he has. Your opponent has strength here when you're away from him, I've got that space. If Pat's got my elbow here, we're switching the rows here. If he stays out here, I've got strength to pull him underneath me, okay? But as soon as Pat crowds me here, okay, he takes away a lot of my power here when he jams me up, okay? That's what makes that elbow control very effective, especially to explode into a shot. This elbow control is no good unless you develop the power. You feel the power, okay? Lat pulls. You do a lot of lat pulls, okay? Dumbbell rows here. It's the same type of technique. Everything is here. Elbows go in. If we want to take 2 elbows, we can take 2 elbows, but everything's here with those elbows tight. I have no power when I start grabbing an elbow and I let this elbow float high, okay? I'm not going to be pulling anything. My strength is here, grabbing the wrist and rolling that in. I grip and roll. Pull that roll in, controlling right here, okay? And honestly, I'm in position. This guy shouldn't be getting his arm back. Once you develop the strength and feel comfortable with the elbow control, he should not be able to get this arm back. Pull this arm out, okay? He's stuck here, all right? We've controlled him. So you want to develop that technique strength of right here, pulling that elbow in, right here, controlling it. Notice my hand, my palm is up, okay? It's up right here. Posting. I'm always posting inside on that inside control. Post. Get in the habit. Post. Don't go here. Don't lay the hand over the top. Don't post here on the elbow. Okay? Inside right here on that bicep. Even though he's controlled me here, even he's got a good grip, I've extended him. Okay? I've extended that arm. Okay? In this position. Keeping that arm extended. Okay? Right here. And our shots. Hitting. Whatever we want to do. Okay? So that's the basic principle of elbow control. 2 elbow controls, there's nothing that changes. He might go to my elbow, I come inside, he fights back inside, right here. I take his elbow, roll my wrist over the top, boom, or boom. If I want to control 2 elbows, okay? In that position, the same situation, but what we get into a lot is when you fight inside here, okay, and a way to get into elbow control is a lot of times you'll fight inside, or you might like to wrestle inside here, okay, coming in, and the guy rolls back inside. As soon as he rolls back inside, I'm just rolling my wrist under, pulling it here, okay? Now, a couple situations with the control that you have to be aware of. One is when he posts inside, okay? A lot of times your opponent will post inside here and block off, and this is very effective. Okay, as far as me not getting any power, me not getting any grip on that elbow, okay? So it's real important that we understand that this is the one thing that can prevent us from being effective on our offensive shots. So anytime he's posting here, I want to make sure that I learn how to, what we call breaking the thumb, okay? And when he posts in this position here, and he's got me blocked off here, I'm not going to penetrate. I'm not going to do anything if I wanted to score here. If I decided to shoot here, all Pat's going to do is extend me out, okay? Okay, extend me out here. So I've got to learn to break that thumb. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my shoulder, and as I roll my shoulder, I'm going to pop that thumb right off. So all I'm doing right here with the elbow control is roll my shoulder. See, I break that thumb. Okay? Right here. Right here. And a good little drill is you just do it both sides. You learn, and this should be an instinct to you. You know, you're rolling. Anytime that thumb gets posted inside, you're rolling. Here. Rolling those shoulders. So, good little drill is I go here. Boom. And you develop that power. Now, that's coordination. When you probably first try this, you're going to want to pull this and drop your shoulder back. Okay, what we're doing is rolling and pulling. Pull, pulling the elbow, rolling the shoulder. Here, okay? And it's a little bit of coordination. Sometimes I see when I'm teaching some camps and clinics in the summer, I see the majority of the kids really get confused and they want to drop their shoulder back as they pull, okay? Remember, the shoulder goes forward. And a little technique that helps you is switching your head to the opposite side at the same time, which gives you a little bit more space to be able to clear that thumb. So I'm here, and sometimes switching my head to the opposite side gives me a little bit more space to pop that thumb off, okay? Now I'm in position to score. High crotch, whatever I want to do, okay? So remember that this is the one thing, and probably the biggest thing, that will prevent you from scoring, being able to penetrate easy, being able to get to your opponent's legs, is that inside post with your opponent with his thumb. So learning to break that. Elbow control is no good until you develop this, okay, because this is going to be there constantly. Controlling the elbow. Now we're going to get into a few setups to help you be able to penetrate some things that you want to do. Of course, the best is coming right off the elbow. And the only reason you can come right off the elbow, meaning that I've controlled his head and I'm in the exact position that we've discussed here, is making sure that I'm posting on that opposite side, okay? I have no shot unless I'm posting here, because he's going to down block me before I can even get to a leg, okay, if I don't post. But the best is from here, taking our elbow, and our setup is this, placing the elbow behind us. Anytime we're going to penetrate, whether it's going to be a double leg, penetrating straight to a double leg, or to a high crotch, we're going to make a little half turn with our shoulders here, okay? And as I penetrate, okay, I'm placing that elbow behind me. I'm pulling him. And what I want to do is I want to extend him. Off this elbow control, my setup is this, is I want to extend him, okay? So I'm really pulling him as I'm penetrating, okay? Right here, making that half turn. Whatever we want to hit. High crotch is there, double legs there, and of course we're not going to get into the skill of the shot. We're going to discuss more the setup and how we get to the legs, okay? So back down again. Here, pulling, dropping. Whether we want to go here or here, but pulling. Placing that leg, arm behind me, okay? Turn. Here, pulling, pulling, pulling as I penetrate, okay? High crotch or double, whatever you want to hit, okay? And that's probably the most simple and the one that's one of the most effective setups, okay? Now, passing the elbow, going from elbow control. We're controlling the elbow, and now our setup is passing the elbow. Sometimes we'll get that pressure on our head where our opponent is putting that pressure on our head, okay? And it becomes difficult sometimes to be able to penetrate under because there's pressure, so much pressure down. So we go into what we call passing the elbow. So from the elbow control, as he's putting pressure on my head here, and remember, every time I grab that elbow, I'm posting on that opposite side. I keep reinforcing that it's real important. We don't get lazy and start dropping on his head, okay? It defeats everything. If he doesn't grab my elbow, okay, it's his own fault, okay? Because he's just isolated my position. So every time you're going to see me going right here, inside control, posting off when I take that elbow, okay? So when I get pressure and the guy's pulling on my head here, okay, go ahead and pull on, okay, right here. Now, for me to penetrate underneath, I just feel too much pressure. So sometimes you're not going to penetrate because you feel that pressure. Because if I keep going, he's just going to drive me right into the mat. Okay? I just don't feel that penetration shot. So what we do is what we call passing the elbow. And I'm going to drop and pass it over the top. From here, this is my setup to a leg shot. As he's putting pressure on me right here, all I'm going to do is drop. I'm going to bend my knees, and I'm going to place that elbow right over my head, right here. Okay? I'm going to switch from my stagger. Well, I'm in a stagger now, but because I'm ready to penetrate, I'm getting ready to take that deep penetration step. I'm getting right here. I'm getting ready to hit. So from here, as he puts that pressure on my head here, this position here, okay, he's dropping heavy on my head, I'm here. Now, you may drop your head just a little bit, which really, technically, you're not supposed to ever be dropping your head, but in this situation, you're in good position because you've controlled that elbow. You've taken away any shot or any penetration that he can attempt on me, so I'm okay dropping my head a little bit here. So again, he's putting pressure on my head right here. All I'm going to do is bend my legs, and as I bend my legs, okay, I'm just going to place that elbow over the top of me, right here. Okay, that's my setup. I've opened up the shot. I've created an angle. As soon as I've hit, I've moved him here. So not only am I dropping, but I'm placing that elbow over there. I'm moving his body, especially his upper body, creating that angle for my shot. So again, here, right here. Okay, double or single, or high crotch. Okay, or low single. Okay, here, or to our double. Here, or those of you that like low single legs, here. Okay, so it's called passing the elbow. Very effective, and you're going to find yourself in that position quite a bit, especially when guys are heavy on the head. Come heavy on the head. Now, the same type of pressure, a little bit of an option is just posting that elbow in. We call it the hyperextension of the elbow. Guy comes and grabs my head again. Okay, we're in position here. He's putting pressure on my head right here. All I want to do is hyperextend that elbow. I want to drive it in, okay, in this position. And my reaction is going to be quick. Okay, he's going to pull it back out. And when he pulls it back out, we're going right back to our elbow penetration shot. Whether our elbow high crotch, whether we want to go elbow double leg, whether we want to go elbow single leg. But again, he's grabbing my head. He's putting pressure on my head right here. Go ahead and put pressure. I'm going to hyperextend that elbow right here. And as soon as I drive that elbow in, it's discomfort, number one. He's going to immediately push it out. When he pushes it out, when you feel that push out, boom, you're hitting. Okay? Whatever you want to go into. You can go into a duck under from here. The only thing about a duck under is that if you want to go into a duck, you want to slide your thumb over the top. You don't want to keep that thumb blocked down. You want to slide it over the top and control the tricep muscle and then hit. So again, here, he's putting pressure on my head. I hyperextend it. As he takes it out, I go. Okay? Right here. Okay? That's our setup. Okay? Our setup is actually pushing the elbow in, getting that reaction out of your opponent. Now, this is quick in competition. I mean, it's a boom, boom. You're going to drive it in. You're going to get a quick reaction from him. Okay? And what that does is that just takes that pressure off your head. The guy's putting a lot of pressure here. Here, now he's got to worry about his elbow. And first thing he's going to do is take the pressure off my head to take his elbow out. Okay? And that's when we penetrate. High crotch or double. It's a great little setup to an easy penetration shot. Okay? So once again, all right, guy grabs my elbow right here. Okay, I'm putting pressure on Pat's head. He drives it in right here. And as soon as he feels that coming back out, okay, he's penetrating. High crotch or double leg. Okay, so again, he pushes it in right here. Okay, so it's just an elbow extension. Hyperextending that elbow. Okay, now, again, from this position, staying with this elbow control, staying with the guy that's tying up on our head here. Okay, so we've covered passing the elbow. We're heavy on the head. We're dropping, passing the elbow. Okay, penetration, low, double, high crotch. Okay, head, driving the elbow in. He's heavy on my head. Going double, high crotch. Okay, in that position. All right. Now, what we're going to do now is, from the elbow control, what we're going to do is we're going to call pass the elbow. Okay, and this means he's getting his hand down off my head. So from here, okay, he's tying up my head, he pulls his arm back down, or maybe he's even sucked it back down to the inside here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is what we call passing the elbow. All I'm going to do is take a small step back, okay, where I extend his arm here. Okay, and all I'm going to do is drive the elbow across, right here. Plant it, double, high crotch, even a low single leg. Okay, here. So again, I've taken elbow control, he's gone inside here, okay, in this position. So all I'm going to do is take a step back, plant it. Okay, and when I take that elbow, I'm going to plant the hand. I'm going to try to plant his hand. Of course, I probably won't be able to, but I'm really going to pull his upper body here, okay, in this position. Okay, right here. All right, penetration, double or high crotch. Here. Or here. If you're a low single leg guy, you can even go here. Right there. Okay? So, again, he's fought back inside right here. Okay? I'm on the elbow control. I'm having a hard time, remember what we discussed, breaking that thumb. I'm having a hard time doing that. Maybe he's a short, stocky, just powerful guy. He's in there, good hand position, strong wrist. Okay, right here. You know, he's in. Small step back. Okay? Small step back, passing it. Okay? And then closing the gap again. Okay? Right here. Nice little setup from elbow control. Now, staying with that position, coming off that head, and keep staying on the inside again here. Now what we're going to discuss here, breakdown. Now we're going to discuss here is him getting over the top. Okay? Sometimes they'll get over the top here. Go ahead and get off the top. And once they do this, you always remember, if they're trying to control that tricep muscle, you pull that elbow to you. Okay? You get that elbow past that grip he has, meaning that he has a grip here, and he's putting pressure on me. Put pressure on me. Okay? Okay? The way I take that pressure off is I pull that elbow in. I extend that arm out and drive that head position in. Same time, remember, I'm always blocking off on the opposite side there. Okay, right here. Posted in, I'm controlling the elbow. And remember, the most effective one is rolling that shoulder, busting that thumb. Okay, rolling that shoulder and busting that thumb. All right. If we do want to go to the head, which I don't care for unless you're really going to move the head off an elbow control. So if we decide that we want to go from an elbow to a head control, okay, and a lot of times you're going to go to the head control when your opponent's on the inside control here, blocking off here, even if we've broken the thumb here, okay. So as he breaks down, even though I'm here, okay, if I go to the head, a lot of times what it helps me do is clear this thumb. But when I go to it, I always want to move it right here, okay. And when I go to it, I want wrist deep as I pull down. So meaning that if I ever go to the head, move it. Don't stand on it, because I do not want to get in a position where I've got his elbow, he's got my elbow, and we're stuck here. Okay? So when I go to it, I move it. I put his head down. Okay? And this is my setup to help me get underneath a little bit. And when I get that reaction, when I pull that head down, what I want to do when I pull that head down, I want to make him reroute that head out the opposite side. So when I come down on his head, I'm going to roll my wrist over the top of his head. Okay? And I want him to reroute his head out that way. And that gives me my open shot here on that high crotch. So when I get here in this position, maybe right here, wherever I want to be here, and I'm blocking off, I move the head right here. I hit. High crotch or a double. That's my setup. From elbow control, going to the head. I'm head to head, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to the head. And I roll it. It all happens real quick. Right here. Penetrate. As I'm pulling that thumb. Okay? Again. Right here. Here, pull, reroute. You want him to reroute it. Okay? Here, high crotch, double. Okay? So we're moving that head off the elbow. All right? Right here in this position. Again, if you like your single leg from here, you can even hit a single leg from this position as well. As I pull the head and he reroutes it, I can come here, off the elbow. Okay? Shooting a little bit across the body. So that's going to be a shot that we're going to come up with rather than rather than trying to get to the corner. It's going to be a shot we're coming up with, okay, because we're actually shooting across the body a little bit in that position, okay? So again, I'm here, moving the head. Watch how I reroute the head right here, okay? All this is a reaction too. I mean, as you notice, I'm feeding, I've changed levels, and I'm ready to penetrate. So these are quick setups. I mean, we're grabbing, moving, bam, hitting. But everything's a quick setup. If you're good and you're effective on your feet, all your setups are quick into an explosive shot or to whatever you're doing. So I very seldom see anyone real effective, you know, dragging out a setup or dragging out a position to get to a shot. So everything is explosive when it comes to setups, okay? So again, controlling the elbow or controls the elbow, our setup is moving the head right here, okay? And remember, keep in mind his reaction. When I pull that head down, that head's coming up. It's any good at all. He's been taught, he's wrestled a long time, he's a great wrestler. His head's not going to be down long. He's going to find a way of getting that head back up, okay, because he knows he's at such a disadvantage. So you got to be quick when you're hitting it, okay? Boom. My setup is he's planted his feet, and he's coming up. Boom, I hit him, okay? Coming off the elbow, elbow control, setting up off the head, okay? Now, what we're going to do from here is a steering wheel, okay? And this is a very, very effective setup off the elbow. Controlling the elbow. Now, instead of me wanting to reroute the head out, I'm going to steering wheel, meaning that, make a half turn, meaning that when I go to his head, I'm going to pinch his head here, okay? Right here in this position. And now I want him to pull back up, and I penetrate to my double leg, okay? So the first one, I'm pulling down, I'm letting him reroute his head out, and I'm penetrating. This one, I'm clubbing him to his elbow, and I'm getting him to pull back up here. And as he backs up, I penetrate, okay, in that position. This is a very effective move if you like duck unders. Hitting here, okay, dropping back to the tricep, hitting your duck under. So the setup again is here, I'm pulling, and as he comes up, right back to the duck under. I'm coming back to the inside control. Here, okay, so here, here. Okay, and remember on that duck under, if you're going to hit it, we're not going to take that thumb to the inside. I'm going to rotate that hand over top of the tricep, what we call a little bit of a monkey grip. Okay, this is a monkey grip here. All right, so either way, elbow control, we're pulling here as he comes back up. Okay, I'm penetrating. And each time on every one of these shots, I'm pulling the elbow and I'm placing that hand behind me on everything we're doing to penetrate through the legs. Here, now as I penetrate, I'm pulling. See me pull here? And I'm in. I'm clearing that arm. Okay? Again, here, right here. All right? And on the duck under, I'm here. As soon as he comes up, I'm going here, here, here. It's all one motion. Keep in mind as well, when we're in this position here, okay, and we're moving the head, everything we're doing, I'm going to emphasize it one more time, is when we go to the head, we move it, okay? I just can't stand guys going to the head and leaving that hand up there. Okay, how simple. If he's any kind of wrestler, and if you ever did it to Pat Smith, you never got your elbow back, okay? Once he controls that elbow, you know, you're stuck, okay? I've got to clear this arm down, and he's really pulling it in. He's good in this position, you know. Now I'm in position where I could be getting scored on, possibly if he straightens that arm out, if I haven't cleared that thumb, okay? If he's good at an elbow, which he is. So you be real careful about when you do go to the head, move it. Always move it. Don't stand on it. Don't lay a soft hand down. And if you ever watch, you know, a high school tournament, you know, it's probably one of the biggest mistakes made is guys resting their hand on top of opponent's head and really getting tied up where nothing's really effective, okay? So from the elbow, moving the head. When we go to it, we're moving it. okay? And you can even hit your duck under for a setup off the head. As he brings it back up, okay, you can also hit your duck under off the head here, okay? Now, I don't want to get into too many shots. I'm just giving you some ideas of what you can go into as far as off these setup controls. Now and then you'll wrestle a guy. If I'm wrestling Pat, and let's say that Pat is, I tell you, one of the best inside control guys I've ever wrestled. Great inside position, gets in there. He's so strong when he gets inside here. You know, he's posting off, he can post off, he's pulling me, he's doing a lot of things, okay? We're not really, and sometimes even though I get to the elbow, I just don't have the power to pull that elbow in. So we're going to concentrate on some setups from here, okay? Where even though we're on elbow control, we're going to feed off that elbow control and go into some setups, okay? First one we're going to do is a little slap down drag, okay, which I'm very high on this shot here, okay? I'm in here, he's in position, and maybe he's got his arms over the top. All I'm going to do, let's keep your thumbs in, because if he goes over the top, remember, if you're good elbow, he goes over the top, you own him. You should own this guy. This is when I can't break his thumb. He's strong in here. Okay, I move my head across, I'm just getting jammed in here. He's too strong. If he ever rolls his thumb over the top, okay, you got him. You should own this guy. Okay, this is the position you want to be in. All right, are you going to be able to hold that position for 30 seconds? No. But you're going to be in position where you're at that time, you're the only one that can score, and if you got some good penetration shots, you got a great opportunity of penetrating to the legs. Okay, so he's in here powerful, okay, in this position. What I'm going to do is what we call a slap down drag from my elbow control. All I'm going to do is drop my wrist back, okay, back to the wrist. And from right here, I'm going to take his power away by just slapping that hand down. And as I slap it down, I'm going to catch it at the elbow, okay, and hit him with my double, okay. Again, I'm in here, we're fighting inside control. Maybe you like to fight inside. He gets inside and he's beating you in the position right here. Boom, I'm hitting right here. Slap down drag. It's not the older drag that we know, which is still a very effective drag when we're coming inside and rolling it, okay. This is a slap down drag. So we're in here and he's fighting inside. I'm just coming back to his wrist, passing it, okay. And we're probably going to be shooting right into our double leg here. Or if you're a low single leg guy, you can also hit a low single leg right here, okay? But preferably on this is a double leg because you're in position, okay? So slap down drag. If it's on your single leg side that you're battling, I'm elbow control here, which my single leg side's this. When I slap it down, okay, and I come here, I'm going to drive my head in between his armpit right here and his chest right here as I penetrate, as I come up, okay? Slap down to, from here, elbow, he's jamming me up here in this position, boom, right here, okay? If you want to go low with it, you can go low with it with a little bit of a sweep action, that's fine too, okay? Right here. Come back, posting here, elbow, back. Slap. Shoot your head in. Okay? You can come high or you can go low. Okay? In that position. Okay? Or if you want to snatch, you can snatch from this position. Never even have to hit a knee. I'm here and as I post, right in. Okay? Both in. Good drill is that you're doing both of them. Elbow control, double. Elbow control, other side, single. Okay, so it's when we get those guys posting inside. They really want to get inside and post us off right here. I really want to get in and post us off here. Okay, boom. Or on the high crotch side, you know. Okay, here, double side or high crotch. A lot of different things that you can do from there. Okay. Inside, we're taking elbows. Okay, we're struggling, pulling that elbow in, coming back to the wrist, slap, and when I'm catching above the elbow, here. And preferably, remember, your single side, you want to take that head to the inside. If you're not comfortable with it being on the outside, which I'm not, especially on my opponent's left side, I'm not going to get that head out there, so I take it to the inside. When I slap it down, inside, okay, right here. And the best thing to do is to trap that arm for your setup here. So when I take that elbow and he's blocking off, tighten up, when he's blocking off, when I trap it to his body, okay? If I want to come up, I come up. If I want to create an angle, I create an angle in that position. Those of you that like elbow control or want to develop inside elbow control, doesn't mean that you cannot develop something on the inside. You're going to have to work on the inside. The inside is still a very, very effective way of controlling your opponent, setting your opponent up with different setups. So we're going to move from elbow to inside here and discuss some of the things that we want to do from inside. Okay? And a lot of it is not pull, push. These are things that we're going to do to set our opponent up to attack a shot. Okay? There is a bunch of pulling and pushing, but there's a lot of videos out there that you can go to learn that. You know, but today I'm going to discuss not so much pulling and pushing, maybe a tad of it, but more moving the elbows, finding positions that we can clear, and learning when you can set your opponent up at a different, out of moving your opponent. Okay, so from inside control. Okay, if you want to take inside control, we break down. Me and Pat are wrestling. Okay, if I come inside, all right, in this position. Now, you can either keep your thumb inside or you can rotate your thumb. Okay, now I would really be concerned about rotating my thumb over the top if this guy had a good elbow control. Okay, if I did it against Pat, I'd get whipped. Okay, if I went inside, I want to keep maybe that thumb inside or rotate it. But whatever we do, we're going to work this guy. Okay, my first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work his head here. So when I pull his head, okay, what I'm going to do first is from inside control, I'm going to pull, pass. Okay, all in one motion. I'm going to get a reaction. Inside control, I'm going to pull with the head, okay, and I'm going to pass the elbow. I'm going to open him up here. So when I come inside, I'm going to pull right here, and as I pull, I'm going to pass right here. Hitting, double leg, high crotch, okay? So again, boom. Now, notice that I want to try to position myself for that angle, attacking him at that angle. So as I pull, I'm actually circling towards the side I'm penetrating to. Okay, not so much a circle, but when I change from maybe a stagger stance to a deeper stagger, okay, because I'm ready to penetrate, I'm moving my feet in the direction I'm going, right here. Okay, and all I'm doing is simply this, inside control, moving his head down, okay, right here. And what I want to do, the reason I want to pull that is I want that elbow, I want that control, come on up, I want that control to fall off of me. So I'm really pulling down and passing, okay? And when I pass that elbow, here, I push it, create that angle, okay? Now, you can do a little bit of the steering wheel from here too, meaning that when I go inside here, I'm rotating his head this way. Now as he brings it back up, okay, in this position, I'm passing it here from inside, okay? Hit. Great little setup. Now, a lot of times what will happen here is when we pull on that head, or we get a little pop with that head, this arm will post on the inside right here, okay? So as I'm in inside control here, and I pull, he'll post that arm here, okay, to keep from falling down. And when you feel this, all we're going to do is bump, okay? Bump or post. I like to bump right here, carrying up. Okay, I'm not really trying to pop it off of me. I'm just holding it up there as I penetrate to my high crotch or my double. Okay, so again, from here, I'm pulling. He starts to post to keep the falling up. See what I did right there? Okay, bringing my hand down. Okay, here. Again, inside, he posts right here. I'm going to pull you down, just try to hold up. Right here, right here. Coming in. Okay, it's a little bit of a, may not feel it right away, but it's a very effective setup. And remember, if you don't want to do that after you post here, you can always come back here, and it's called a push post. We're pushing it, driving it. But that's how we get to the post, is by moving his head. Okay, by moving his head. Okay, down, he posts inside, he's driving, so he doesn't fall right here. Push post, meaning that we're not trying to pop it. Once he makes contact with my body, with his hand, I'm not going to pop it off. I'm going to have to push it off. Okay, right here, I'm going to have to push it off. Big deep step. Okay, change into two, or you can go right into your double leg in that position. Okay, so again, here. Really like this one here. Now, two insides, I think, is sometimes it's very difficult to be able to penetrate. I think it's one of the hardest positions to penetrate. So I really like to focus on taking a little bit more of an outside shot. This is my single leg shot if I'm going to work from inside. I think it's tough sometimes to take two insides here, pull, and actually get to the legs here. So what I want to focus on is when I do pull, if I'm working two insides here, okay, and I'm beating him on two insides, I want to work more as I pull, I'm going to penetrate to my singles, okay? Or I'm going to pass my elbows. Pull, pass, double, okay? So from two inside, you want to work two ins. It's pull, okay? And as we pull, pass, pull that elbow off, double. Or pull, okay? Here, single, all right? Just a couple options from two insides, okay? Not many people work two insides, want to get two hands inside. Some do, but I find it a little bit tougher. I think the good elbow control wrestler can really isolate that position and keep him from even attempting something. But you're really going to have to close the gap. You know, if I'm on Pat and I'm pulling inside, if Pat pulls those elbows and just drives his head right into me, you know, I'm going to be in a tough position here, especially if I'm taking those monkey hips, monkey grips. Remember that inside control with those thumbs in, it's going to be real difficult for me to get any pull. That's pretty much just a block position here, okay? Now, my control is going to be inside. Now I'm going to go back to the wrist here in this position. And when I take the wrist, as he's reaching, I'm coming straight up and rolling my hand under, okay? And this is going to be my control. Now, what you do have to watch for from here is the drag himself, him coming across, okay, and dragging across. So that's why when I get to this position, I want to react quickly. When I go inside and I go to control that elbow or that wrist, I'm going to shoot it right to the single leg and take my single leg snatch, okay? This is my setup. Inside control, coming up. Even if he's made contact with me, I come up, roll it under, and then I drive it right past his leg, okay? Right here. Snatching, okay? So again, inside control, he comes up. I'm coming straight up, rotating it. From here, I'm pulling. As I pull, I'm penetrating to the leg, driving that wrist right past his leg. I can go single with the turn, okay, or I can go single to the snatch, okay, right here, okay, and that's a great little move. Also, from this position, you can get a great reaction out of this guy, meaning that when I go inside and I take that wrist, I can make that step and I just pull that wrist down, put him right on his hands, okay? So from an inside control, I just make that step, pull him right around, okay? Here, I make that step, shoot that arm right past his elbow, step, down. It's all real quick. We're just making that little short, leg comes back, okay? Front headlock, front body lock, go around, whatever we want to do from that position, okay? So, we've covered here inside head, working our high crotch, our post, okay? Our bump, okay? Again, steering wheel, we got our duck under there, okay? Two insides, pull, snatching the single leg, and now same thing. We're coming up and controlling the wrist and driving it by. Is your high crotch there? Yes. Okay. Is your high crotch there? Yes. This is a good little opposite fake one way, hit the other shot too. Getting him to move that leg here. So when I get inside, I'm pulling down here We call it an opposite direction, okay? Also going your good fireman's carry. See a lot of good fireman's carry hit from here, okay? Going here, right here. Okay, nice fireman's, okay? So you can also hit that misdirection from there. Now what I want to cover now is positions that, not so much that we not so much that we put our opponent in, but when our opponent takes us and puts us in a certain position. Learning to clear that position and taking control and getting ourselves back into position where we can set our opponent back up. And let's start with an underhook. Not when we put the underhook on, but when our opponent puts an underhook on, okay? And all I'm thinking now, and this is a little bit of counter defense, but going from counter defense right back into my offense, right back into my control, right back into my setups, okay? And when you become effective with this is when you really start separating yourself from your competition. Because the bottom line is, when I wrestle a good wrestler, okay, that guy is probably going to get me in a position that I don't like, meaning that he's taking control of me for maybe a split second. And my reaction is going to be real important. What I know as a wrestler is going to be real important. I'm not going to always go out 100% of the time and control my opponent. Now, ideally, I'd love to. Love to go out and be able to control the positions, but it's not going to happen. But when we become very good wrestlers is when we get put in control, we clear it, and we take control again to set up our next takedown, okay? So let's start with an underhook, okay? Pat puts an underhook on. Let's just go right hand, okay? Pat forces an underhook here. Anytime we're in an underhook position, okay, the one thing that we do not ever want to do is get stood up. Meaning when he gets me in an underhook, I never want to get stood up here unless I'm confident in my throwing ability, okay, which that's not a problem. If you're confident with stepping in or bear hugging, those types of things, that's fine. But you got to learn how to clear those positions. And anytime I'm in an underhook position here, I want to make sure that I put pressure on that underhook. Meaning I'm going to come right into his crotch here, okay, right here. And I'm going to put pressure here. And I'm darn sure going to make sure I take inside control. I don't want him getting inside control on the opposite side. So fight back inside, okay, right here. I want to make sure I keep inside control. Now, notice my head position when my opponent takes that underhook. I keep that head buried in there, okay. I don't want to drop that head down because what he likely will want to do from an underhook is maybe to pull my head under. So I've got to keep my head up. I've got to be strong with my position there. So when he takes an underhook, I've got to be strong here. Okay? I can't drop down here and expect to survive this. Okay? Against a good wrestler. All right? So when he takes that underhook, I jam my head in. He comes in, he forces it in, he's beating me to the position, jam my head, get that hand to the inside, right here. You can lay it palm flat or you can just karate chop is what we call it, right here. Okay? And now I'm going to separate my hips right here. And now from here, I'm going to come back inside. And when I come back inside here, I'm going to rotate right back out to my elbow. And now we go all into our sequence. Okay, we've got our elbow control. High crotch, okay, breaking the thumb, double leg, passing the elbow, whatever we want to do. Okay, so again, I'm here. I've been beat. I've been beat. He's beat me in this position. Okay, now I'm going to counter it and go right back into my controls, okay, and being prepared for my setups. So again, he takes his underhook right here. Now from here, I'm going to be heavy. Now one of the things I do here is when he takes that underhook, I pinch this elbow to my body, okay, as I'm sagging. I really get that arm trapped in there, okay, right here. Don't just try to pull down when I'm karate chopping here. Don't just keep that elbow out, but pull it into your body, okay? Really pull it into your body right here. See what I'm doing? See what I've done to his elbow, okay? And that allows me to just go right inside, okay? Pummel back inside and right back out. Hitting, okay? Again, right here. See where I'm at? Elbow in, okay? Once I block here, I might block here to get my hips back. Okay, even though my elbow's high here, let's make a half turn. Even though my elbow's high, but when my hips start dropping back, because I've leveraged myself back here, Now I bring that elbow in and come inside. Right here. Boom. Okay? Or we just take the control. Remember, don't ever penetrate unless you feel comfortable. Okay? We're talking about controls first. And, you know, if I don't feel good with the penetration shot, or I don't feel like I'm in position, I'll control here. I'll control the position. Okay? And I'll be looking to move him here. Moving him. Elbow. Whatever, you know, whatever I need to go into. But even though we take an elbow control, I'm not saying that you need to be penetrating off it all the time. What you want to do is you want to take that control and start developing your setups, building your confidence, and then I'm moving him. I feel like I'm clearing him to be able to take a good shot. If I don't have that, we don't shoot. We're not shooting just to be shooting. We shoot when we set our opponent up and we've cleared him to be able to take that shot, okay? So once again, underhook, we're going to clear the position, going back to our controls here. Underhook, down, and the reason I'm coming down is I'm getting my hips separated. Because when he takes an underhook and pulls me up, he comes a little bit closer. Closer he gets, the more effective he is to pass that elbow by, okay? Or pass that underhook by. So, from here, I'm here, I go back, elbow comes down to my hip, come inside, back to my elbow. My duck under's there, okay? My high crotch is there, all right, in that position. So clearing that underhook, all right? Now, a 2-on-1, okay? Takes a 2-on-1 here, okay? Now, the last thing you want to do in the 2-on-1, anytime somebody takes a 2-on-1 and pulls it in, and there's a lot of different 2-on-1s, guys hug it, whatever it is, but we'll just go the traditional 2-on-1 where he's taking it off, pulling it, sucking it to his body, okay, right here. All right. Now, on the 2-on-1, the last thing you want to do is to start running from this guy circling, okay? Because if he's any good with it, I'm not going anywhere. I've got to clear this arm. So if he takes a 2-on-1, grab it, Pat, you know, it doesn't do me any good here posting here and trying to pull back, okay? All it's doing is creating a position where it looks like I'm stalling, which I am if I'm backing up, or it's a position where if he's effective when you start backing up, he's going to be pulling you down and being able to get behind you to score or pull you down to your hands and knees where you don't want to be. So in a 2-on-1 position, remember, everything we're doing right now is the guy is beating me to a position. I'm going to defend it and go back into my controls, okay? So again, 2-on-1, peels it off right here. From here, I close the gap. Don't separate yourself from him. You close it, okay? Because you jam him up here. The first one here is controlling the far elbow. I'm going in, controlling the far elbow, and I'm going to hyperextend that out. Make a half turn here. Right there, okay? Once I get here, I'm going to hyperextend that out. Go ahead and grab hard on that wrist. You see what I'm doing here? Now I'm going to push my hand between his arm here, his forearm, okay, and his body, okay? Right straight down. Keep a hold of it, okay? Jamming him. Can't hold here, all right? Now, more than likely, he's going to fight back inside control, okay? And I'm looking right back into my elbow control. Remember, when he's pulling that 2-on-1 in here, I want to close the gap. Step in and close the gap. I don't want to separate myself, okay? This is where I'm looking, you know, helpless here, okay? So I close the gap with the 2-on-1, all right? And from here, I'm going to control that elbow. Now, from here, I'm going to drive my wrist to his chest and drive it straight down, right here. Now, if you like underhooks, you go right back into your underhook, okay? And you can pass him, all right? If you prefer to go to elbow or inside control, once I drive down here, okay, he's going to start to square up. I'm right back in my elbow control, okay? Meaning that I've controlled him. I've got control of him, okay? Or you can go back into your inside control from that position here, okay? As I pull here and I clear here, he goes back out. I may end up in the inside control, meaning that I'm moving his head, passing his elbow. So everything we're doing, and I'll just show you a couple shots from here as I clear it right here, and this shooting off of it as he squares back up, okay? Here, if you like your underhooks, coming right over with your underhook, passing it, okay? Taking it off, jamming him right here, passing the elbow, staying right in there with it, okay? So I'm here, I come in, close the gap, If I got any separation, this doesn't work. I can't reach to it. I got to step in, close the gap. As I pull down, I've got elbow control. Okay, I've broken the wrist, pass it. Double leg, high crotch. Okay. Now, another one from a 2-on-1 here, okay, is coming inside, right here. He's pulling it in. Same thing, I'm closing the gap. I'm digging inside right here, okay, and I'm prying that arm off right here. And now I'm back in my inside control, okay, meaning that when I step back out here, I'm going to move him, okay. 2-on-1, coming inside right here, peeling it off, okay. And as he starts to square back up right here, I'm moving him. Okay, moving him. Okay, so that's from a 2-on-1. And keep in mind that we've got to learn how to wrestle out of certain controls and put ourselves in position to score. Because I'm going to emphasize it again, we're not going to go out every time and beat that guy in position. And let's say that I'm wrestling a guy, and I wrestled a lot of them in my career, that really had better position than me. Meaning that when we went out, not so much position, but had better controls than me. When we went out and we started wrestling, he just beat me to that inside control. And I really couldn't get my elbow grips. Or I beat him to inside control, and he kept beating me on the elbow grips. Doesn't mean anything, okay? Doesn't mean that he's better than me. All that means is I'm going to have to wrestle to fight out of positions, to put myself back in position to score. Okay, even though he's coming out and actually controlling me and taking his controls, that's okay. I got to learn to clear him, get back in position to put myself in position to score, to get back to my setups and to get back to my setups. And these are fine examples. This is a 2-on-1. He's beating me. He looks like he's in position here. Boom. I've moved it. I've cleared it. I'm in position to score. Okay. And the other one that we covered, underhook. Underhook. He's beating me. He's beating me. He's controlling me here. I'm going to defensive attack here. I'm posting inside, clearing it, coming back inside, going back to my elbow. Boom, I find myself in scoring position. Okay? That's what you got to get to. And there's a lot of different scenarios that you can get into. But keep in mind, we're not always going to go out and get the controls we want. The great wrestlers are the ones that sometimes get beat in control, turn it around, put themselves in position to be able to attack. In closing, I just want to say that we talked about a lot of controls and setups, from elbow control, from inside control. And when you think about wrestling, those are probably two of the most dominating positions on our feet. When people go out, they're either going to be real effective from an inside control, and the majority are effective from the inside control, and there's probably less effective from an elbow control. And those are the positions that you really need to work on, because those are the positions that you score from. There's a lot of head position and head control, really controlling the head, but every time, most of the time somebody's controlling the head, they're also controlling the inside control, or even possibly an elbow control, which we covered, you know. But these are controls, and these are the setups that I showed are very, very effective setups. Be determined that you're going to teach setups, you know, and I covered a few of them here for you, and there's a lot more that you can learn. The more setups you have, the better off you are. And of course, all you need to learn is 1, 2, maybe 3 good setups to any single leg shot, high crotch shot, or double leg shot. But you have to have setups. It's a mandatory that you set your opponent up to be able to penetrate. And we covered a little bit when our opponent puts us in a position. The 2 proper positions is an underhook or a 2-on-1, clearing the position and going right back into our controls, right back into our setups. That's when you become a great wrestler, is when you can also, when you get beat in positions on your feet, or your opponent beats you to a control and you turn it around to be able to score. That's when you start separating yourself from your competition. Good luck.